You're looking at Texas A&M making the road trip to Starkville, Mississippi, where the Bulldogs snapped a 3-game losing streak last week right here at Davis Wade Stadium. But today the task a little bit different as the 4th-ranked Aggies at 7-1 bringing their white jerseys and the maroon helmets to town as you are watching SEC Network Football presented by Allstate. Well, at the beginning of the year, Texas A&M not ranked in the AP poll. Well, on Tuesday, the college football playoff rankings were released, and to the surprise of many, the Aggies are 4th. They are among the 4 in the college football playoff rankings, and Alabama #1, as many expected. Dave Neal alongside my partner, former All-American at the University of Georgia, Matt Stinchcomb. And Matt, as we look at that, the first 4 are out, and certainly for Texas A&M, a lot to play for. How does this change the dynamic of the season for Texas A&M moving forward?
Well, they're not going to change their process, that's for sure, because the reason they're in the conversation is because of the way they've approached this season. No really high expectations. High expectations now. You need to win out, and you need to look good doing it because you share a division with the University of Alabama, who is unlikely to be derailed. You can't win a division, and so the metrics need to prop you up a little bit, knowing that you're going to be contending against other teams and potentially another one-loss team in Ohio State that may still have a shot at a conference championship. A&M needs to be dominant in their games that they have left on their schedule, and it lays out rather nicely given the fact that they get LSU on a short week, now coming off a game versus the Florida Gators in their final game of the regular season.
It has been a tough season for Mississippi State. They have played a lot of new faces this year. They have dealt with numerous injuries, had a 3-game losing streak. They have lost 3 games on the final play of competition. Had a big win last week where they had to really use their offense and their quarterback Nick Fitzgerald to get it done against Samford. See if they can use some of that momentum here today. Texas A&M bobbling the opening kick. Justin Evans will field it and be swallowed up around the 10-yard line. Time for us to head down to the sidelines and visit with Olivia Harlan. Good morning, Olivia.
Good morning, Dave. Aggies All-American defensive end Myles Garrett was a game-time decision with a left ankle injury, and Coach Sumlin just told me he will only play 3rd downs today. This is a lingering issue back from September, and they want to be careful with their all-star defensive end. I watched him warm up with Coach Sumlin, and what he was looking for and pointed out to me was if he could get up on his toes while also cutting hard to the side. Jarrett Johnson will start in his place with help from Quaylen Cunningham down the stretch.
All right, we'll look at this A&M Aggie offense first, and the first play from scrimmage to go in deep, looking for Christian Kirk. 54 catches on the air, but can't get his hands on that one. Trevor Knight, the Oklahoma transfer, the graduate transfer, has completed 53% of his passes on the air, but most of his damage really with his legs. Well, Kevin Sumlin has changed his look offensively this year. A lot of run-pass options with Knight. This is the handoff coming near side, looking with Keith Ford. He'll pick up 3 yards, and now a 3rd down, and let's call it 7 as we look at this Texas A&M offense.
Now, Ricky Seals-Jones is a guy that they use him a lot in their blocking schemes. Their split zone runs, but they need him to get more incorporated in the passing attack. He's been out of a couple of games, and when you've got a new quarterback in Trevor Knight, it's easy for one of your weapons to be out of sight, out of mind. Noel Mazzoni, the offensive coordinator, said he's wanting to get number 9 for Texas A&M more involved in their passing attack.
A&M 6th of the conference on 3rd downs. Here's Trevor Knight. He has the 1st down and a whole lot more out to the 30-yard line. He'll scamper for 18 yards, brought down by Cedric Giles.
And this is what makes Trevor Knight so dangerous. When you look at it, passing down, perhaps, nowhere to go with the football. Or doesn't like what he sees, just tuck it and run it. He's such an effective runner. Does a great job of not just extending plays, but converting those 3rd downs as a scramble.
Keith Ford. He's out to the 38-yard line. By the way, Texas A&M just went over 2,000 yards rushing this year in just 9 games. They had a little less than 2,200 yards rushing all of last year, covering 13 games, to show you the difference in offensive philosophies from a year ago.
Yeah, it's not only their blocking schemes, but also the contributions from the quarterback position. Trevor Knight being a big contributor in those overall rushing numbers.
Second down play fake. Over the middle, high throw. Looking for Josh Reynolds. Defensively, the Bulldogs get some help. Some injured players making some appearances, including their free safety, Kevon Coleman, and A.J. Jefferson.
A.J. Jefferson is going to need to be a difference maker for Mississippi State up front in this ball game. A guy that can give them some juice in the pass rush, can attack some of these young interior players in the obvious passing downs.
Bulldogs gave up over 600 yards to Samford, an FCS team last week, but they still got the win. Inside handoff on third down and short, nowhere to run. It was Keith Ford stuffed by the freshman Jeffrey Simmons.
This is just a 3-down look. Jeffrey Simmons centered up right over Eric McCoy, the center for Texas A&M, and he just stands number 64 up, pushes him into the backfield, and makes that tackle by the way he took on the block.
Trapuka's punt. Here's our first chance to look at Nick Fitzgerald. Two quarterbacks very similar in their skill sets, but Nick Fitzgerald last week, record-setting performance. Just one of those days, over 400 yards passing, over 100 yards rushing. We'll get into the numbers more specifically as this game goes on, but what a job he did last week.
Yeah, they needed him to be a big part of it too, because it took every ounce of his contributions to come away with a victory. Very quarterback-centric offensively.
Fitzgerald will keep it here, has a whole lot of room. He may take it to the house on the first play from scrimmage for the Bulldogs. 74 yards. Nick Fitzgerald has now accounted for 21 of Mississippi State's 29 offensive touchdowns. He accounted for 7 Bulldog touchdowns last week, and he opens up today with a 74-yarder.
Well, they needed a big game out of Nick Fitzgerald, one of the best running quarterbacks in the conference. And boy, did he make the A&M Aggie defense pay on the first play. Both of these QBs, excellent runners, both of them big parts of these respective offenses on the ground.
Squib kick, tough again for Justin Evans. Bobbled, and that'll set up the Aggies again inside the 15-yard line. Back-to-back kickoffs that have been tough to pick up for Texas A&M. Ontavian Lee with the special teams tackle, and see if the Aggies can overcome the poor start, field position start. Keith Ford out to about the 19-yard line. Cedric Giles making the tackle. And A&M go in hurry-up mode. Boy, big collision right at the 20. Pickup of 2. That was Richie Brown, the middle linebacker, the senior out of Long Beach, Mississippi, team's leading tackler.
See the defense kind of milling about. Richie Brown was in the middle of the defense, and he went unblocked right through the center of the Aggie offensive front. And once again, the Bulldog defensive line asserting itself with another opportunity here on a third down to get another key stop.
Little play fake. Pass is dropped. Intended for Christian Kirk. And another punting situation coming up for Texas A&M.
Great job by Richie Brown again, this time in pass coverage. You could see him just looking into the offensive backfield and reading where Trevor Knight wanted to go with the football. One of his favorite targets in Christian Kirk.
Shane Trapuka. Good tight spiral. Fred Ross will call for the fair catch. 44-yard punt. Mississippi State will have it at the 35-yard line. Inside handoff, Aris Williams driving his way down to the 30-yard line. A 22-yard gain. Armani Watts finally drags him to the turf.
It's just the inverse of the touchdown run. This time it was a give. Nick Fitzgerald leaving it in the ball carrier's hands, and Aris Williams splitting the defense.
Williams working off the left side, picks up 3.
Right now, Mississippi State doing a good job up front, establishing push. They're healthy on the inside. Last week, they've had to reshuffle their offensive line the last 3 games. This is the lineup that they wanted.
They'll go with Williams again. He'll get it down to the 22-yard line. That'll bring up a 3rd down and a couple.
Doing a good job running behind Devin Desperate, his left guard position. Jamal Claiborne, the Remington Trophy candidate, getting some nice push on the inside portion of the Aggie defensive front. Both D tackles getting displaced.
3 receivers to the far side, 1 to the near side.
See the Aggie defense showing blitz. No one blitzes more on 3rd down when they see a passing formation than the A&M defense.
Fitzgerald will run, and he'll have the 1st down and more. Breaks a tackle, breaks another. He's inside the 10 to the 6. It'll be 1st and goal, Mississippi State. 17 more yards for Fitzgerald, who did a nice job catching the snap.
Showing great hands on the snap, you're right, but also running right through a tackle, the 5th missed tackle early.
Good enough to give the Bulldogs the touchdown from Williams, 2 yards away. And Mississippi State is up 13.
Well, were it not for the interception on the previous drive, the Bulldogs are marching right down the football field. Right now, the Aggie defense very much rocked. Haven't really shown an ability to slow down the Bulldogs offensively.
I don't think a whole lot of people saw this one coming. We have 4.5 minutes to go opening quarter, and Mississippi State has put up 181 yards of offense and 2 touchdowns. They lead the 4th-ranked A&M Aggies. Well, they're ringing the cowbells here at Davis Wade Stadium. And why not? A couple of touchdowns on the board. 14-0. Bulldogs out in front. Long way to go. And if you're Texas A&M, you just want to, I guess, field the kickoff cleanly. Their first 2 kickoffs, they haven't had a chance to pick it up cleanly, and they haven't got outside the 15-yard line yet.
Yeah, one time they were kicking it around, and Keith Ford ended up with the football after Justin Evans booted it.
Texas A&M with just 49 total yards on 3 possessions that have resulted in 3 punts. So Logan Cook will kick off, and this one will sail through the end zone, and they'll have their best field position to start.
He has to get things back dialed in offensively.
They'll go with Williams on the handoff. Pick up 3, maybe 4.
Defensively, Mississippi State wants to force the handoff. They want to keep the ball between the tackles if they can. And talking with defensive coordinator Peter Sirmon, they'll take their chances. What they don't want is for the ball to get out on the edge, on the perimeter, and Trevor Knight can really hurt you.
Knight coming near side, pass is caught. Speedy Noyle was the receiver. I don't think he was expecting the football. He was just kind of standing there.
Ah, Speedy Noyle, you could see the hesitation from Trevor Knight, and watch Noyle. He just stops. He's looking downfield. Whoa! The ball coming in. And Trevor Knight stayed on him the whole time. Speedy Noyle, second to Ricky Seals-Jones, is another point of emphasis. They want to get him the football as well.
He's been battling a little bit of a hamstring, has Speedy. Good run from Williams. He'll pick up 9 on a 1st down carry.
Time a missed tackle Good job by Travion Williams of running through it, be able to pick up positive yards. That time you saw Christian Kirk sharing the offensive backfield with Travion Williams.
Kirk comes in motion. They'll run it with Williams, and he is tackled for a loss behind the line of scrimmage by Richie Brown, a loss of 3.
The Aggies do this sometimes. Look at these splits. And Richie Brown's just going to shoot right through the A-gap. Unaccounted for. Second time we've seen that in this game. Inside linebacker Richie Brown from Mississippi State. He just gets downhill right now.
So on a play like that, is that a missed assignment, or are you just hoping you beat him to the...
No. You never give up an A-gap run through like that. For sure, it's a bust between Connor Lamphere and Eric McCoy.
Pass is caught right at midfield. A gain of 9. Josh Reynolds, you can move the chains. Lashard Durr on the coverage. Keeping the drive alive.
Yeah, that's a matchup they clearly like. It's just a matter of getting catchable balls over to Josh Reynolds.
High snap, they'll go wide side again. Reynolds makes the catch. He picks up 5.
And coming into this game, there was a lot of Christian Kirk. Got a ton of targets, 79 in the A&M offense, but some of that is tap pass, fly sweep type receptions. Josh Reynolds is a big part of the downfield passing game.
Knight all day to throw. Everybody's covered up. What's he going to do? Trying to run for it. He'll run out of bounds around the 45-yard line. Picks up 11.
You mentioned all day to throw, but nowhere to go with the football. You can see Brandon Bryant from the safety position. That's Speedy Noyle early in that route. He came all the way over to the multiple receiver side. And by then, Trevor Knight had already tucked to run.
Kirk seals Jones and Reynolds on the far side. They'll go underneath. Hit Kirk. He'll have the first down. He'll pick up 9, and the ball will be spotted at the 35.
You know the ball's going one of two places on third down when they feel they're in a passing situation, which isn't typical. You know, they'll run the football on 3rd and 6, but Christian Kirk has been targeted 4 times on the 3rd down already here.
Williams cuts it back. He's to the 30. A 9-play drive, 45 yards.
So far, Dave, what's been key is Mississippi State's defense getting off of the football field. They saw 104 offensive snaps last week. Right now, they don't want to have to face any sustained drives. It's advantage Aggies the longer this drive goes on.
2nd down. Here's Knight over the middle. Noyle with the catch inside the 20. That's a gain of 12. You can move the chains again.
Great patience that time from Trevor Knight because he had to wait for Speedy Noyle to come through the first passing window and enter the second. He had a linebacker right underneath, and he had to wait for Noyle to clear the linebacker who was dropping into coverage before he could fit that ball in there.
Here's Knight trying to run for it. Coming near side to the 10, to the 5. Leaps for the pylon. Did he make it? Yes, he did. Touchdown, Aggies.
They went with the empty backfield, but they still have a runner as long as the quarterback is in. You see his left foot looks inbounds. Clearly you see a little grass, a little green.
The camera will attempt the point after. Boy, what a nice drive and an answer. You and I were talking about, you know, coaches can only say so much. The players, somebody over there, 1 or 2, 3, whoever it may be, has to kind of take the bull and say, hey, guys, we need to wake up here.
Right. Yeah, well, look, you're the number 4 team in the country. What got us here? And Coach Sumlin talked about it. He loves the chemistry of this team. See Trevor Knight getting his throwing arm looked at. That was the arm that he used. He switched hands late in that run. That's what enabled him to get this ball in the end zone. See him extend it. And then he comes down hard on that elbow. I wonder if he didn't jam his shoulder when he came down on his right arm there. He's already got a harness on his left shoulder. You see him trying to work out the kinks on the sideline.
What a deep kick. Last play of the first quarter. Nothing working there for Mississippi State, but they will take this after 15 minutes of play. Mississippi State with 3 wins on the year, up a touchdown on the 4th-ranked Texas A&M Aggies on a gorgeous morning here in the Magnolia State. Second quarter football on the other side.
Welcome back to Starkville. Texas A&M quarterback Trevor Knight just ran into the locker room. He's experiencing some pain in his right shoulder after that touchdown run. He was rotating his right arm, but would wince when an athletic trainer would put some pressure on one point. We'll see what happens when he comes back, guys.
We'll keep an eye on that for sure. But here's Mississippi State with the football. Malik Deer gets that handoff out over the 30 to the 35. See what they spot. Maybe just shy of the first down. And here is Trevor Knight trying to throw the football right before he went back in. And, ooh, that's
not good.
Oh.
That's not good. I mean, you're talking about a guy who arguably is the MVP of the season so far on offense. And he can't even complete a throwing motion.
On 3rd and short, Ashton Shumpert, 220-pounder, the senior, picks up the first down. He'll gain 4. Jake Hubenek will be the next in line for Texas A&M if he needs to run the show for the Aggies. Well, here is Trevor Knight just a second ago running back onto the field after the trainers and team doctors got a look at him and that right shoulder. And right before he went in, we saw him throw a football and he just winced in pain, and he's still struggling.
Still working it out a little bit. You know, you come down on your elbow and sometimes you can separate your shoulder. When you hit right on the point of your elbow and then your shoulder, AC joint can get separated.
Fitzgerald will fake it, going up top. Pass is caught. Fred Ross near sideline. Touchdown, Mississippi State, 60 yards.
Well, Fred Ross is their favorite target, and you can see why. Physically able to create just enough separation. Nick Fitzgerald delivers a beautiful downfield pass.
Fred Ross has so many school records. The school's all-time leading receiver with 176 receptions. 9 career 100-yard games, also a record. 32 consecutive games with a catch, also a record. And he just went 60 more yards. It's 21-7. Mississippi State out in front. It's actually kind of nice. Had a little chill in the air this morning for the first time. And nothing like a little morning SEC football to get you going. And Texas A&M still waiting to get going there. Prior to the last drive, they went 11 plays, 75 yards, but on that touchdown, that is when Trevor Knight dove for the end zone, injured his shoulder, but just heard somebody on our sidelines overheard him, Trevor Knight, tell his coach he was ready to go. So we will see in a matter of moments if that is the case indeed. Evans on this return out to the 25-yard line. It is Trevor Knight. And he'll throw. Looking for Christian Kirk.
The ball was well inside, but it did not lack distance. Still working out his shoulder, but it started right here on the touchdown run. You see him roll on that right arm. His elbow came down pretty hard, and then he rolled right onto the point of his shoulder. And you could tell he was in pain before he went into the locker room.
He'll throw it again, batted in the air, and almost picked off.
We've seen that a couple times in this game. That time it was Jeffrey Simmons again, able to get his hands up. Watch 98. Good job. You can see Trevor Knight lamenting that one. The 3rd and long. We talk about how versatile this offense can be, more so than most. Obvious passing down and tipping your hand to the defense.
4-man rush. Knight coming near side, trying to buy a little bit of time. Back across the middle. Almost caught by Reynolds through his hands, and it's 4th down.
And you have to wonder right there, does the shoulder injury impact Trevor Knight's decision to try to just buy time to throw? Richie Brown is right there, and so is that pass. Reynolds, a sure-handed receiver, would have been a tough catch, but could have come up with it. But Trevor Knight deciding to keep it alive to throw versus scramble.
5th punt of the game for Tripucka. Gets a good roll, and that one is grabbed on a hop. 48-yard punt. Donald Gray. Hand off to Mixon. Picks up a couple of yards. Mixon, the former running back in high school.
This is something that Mississippi State is favoring more and more. We've already seen Malik Deer motion into the backfield from his slot receiver position. Whenever Mississippi State does that, it's almost 100%. It's a handoff to either Deer or Mixon, who's getting motioned into that backfield.
Corner pressure. Fitzgerald runs away from it, trying to turn the corner. And Nick reaches for the line to gain. Toro Alaka brings him down, a gain of 7.
Nice move by Fitzgerald, but great block by Eris Williams, who could have been potentially the ball carrier and ends up blocking the corner pressure. Otherwise, I think Fitzgerald gets tackled from behind. Great awareness by number 27 to allow his quarterback a chance to get upfield and pick up yardage.
3rd down and about 1.5 yards for Mississippi State. Fitzgerald will try to throw for it. Lofts it up. Pass is caught down to the 36-yard line as Keith Mixon. 17 yards.
Again, working against Capers Smith. You see that? Almost, it's a back knee throw, because that ball wasn't high enough for the shoulder. Great hands by Mixon, and coming back for that football. Fitzgerald kind of floated it out there, and the ball hung in the air. Mixon did a good job of adjusting to the pass.
6 plays, 36 yards on this drive. Stay on the ground. Here's Williams. He cuts it back and stays on his feet near the 31.
Patience by Williams. And that ball looked like that run was going to get strung out to the sidelines. He was just waiting for a crease to kind of open up on that outside run, then able to squirt forward for about 4.
And Williams will take it to about the 27-yard line, 3 more yards. Texas A&M, just to give you an idea of what's going on here, Texas A&M came in giving up less than 20 points per game. That's top 25 in the country. Mississippi State's already put up 21.
Well, big plays have really hurt A&M, although we've seen 2 drives that go right down the football field, and again, the Bulldogs driving.
313 yards of offense for the Bulldogs. 3rd down and a couple. Fitzgerald will just keep it himself and have it. Is that a design?
Yeah, all the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a QB run all the way. Not dissimilar, really, to Trevor Knight's touchdown run in that you see Nick Fitzgerald, you see an opening in the middle of the defensive front. It's an empty backfield. The defenders are thinking pass. You got a runner at quarterback. As long as number 7's in the backfield, there's always a running back.
Will come near side with it. Pass is caught. Get a couple out of that. Pass caught by Malik Deer.
We mentioned Malik Deer, both he and Keith Mixon. Now Deer is a wide receiver, but he'll get some carries as well when he motions into the backfield. 220 pounds. A little fire hydrant out there at receiver. An excellent ball carrier.
Batted in the air. Incomplete. It'll be 3rd down coming up.
It's a good job by Claude George. He was in coverage. Ashton Shumpert inserted right in the middle. Watch number 31. Running right through Shumpert. Gets that right hand up there to bat the football. Second time we've seen George in coverage come up big from his linebacker position.
Bulldogs came in 12th in the conference in 3rd down conversions, but today they are 6 out of 7. Fitzgerald over the middle. Pass is caught. You can make it 7 out of 8. Fred Ross with the reception. It'll be 1st and goal. Mississippi State. Nick Harvey on the tackle. 14 more yards.
That time Deshaun Hall was dropping from his end position and could have been underneath that route, but Ross cleared Hall in coverage. Fitzgerald waited just long enough to fit it in.
Dalen Mack wraps up Eris Williams.
And that's just vintage John Chavis right there. You need a big stop. You want to try to slow down an offense. He goes into that bare front. Each guard, center, and guard are covered up. You can see that time Deshaun Hall stemming down late from his defensive end position. Makes it very difficult to run inside with that many big bodies from A-gap to A-gap on either side of the center.
13-play drive, approaching 6 minutes off the clock. They'll split Williams far out to the right, but they'll come back over the middle. That is a touchdown to Fred Ross. 7 yards away, his 2nd of the afternoon. And 27 points are on the board now for Mississippi State. Are you kidding me?
One-on-one with Capers Smith, who's having a long day. And Ross comes right underneath the free access. And you can see A&M loaded up, came with pressure. And because of that, there was no defenders, no linebackers that could have sunk underneath that throw.
Fred Ross, the senior out of Tyler, Texas. He's had a whale of a career, but he is having an outstanding day. 28-7 Bulldogs. People around the country probably right now not believing this score, but Fred Ross has a lot to do with this. He has had a great career, but today he's putting on a show. He's been targeted 5 times. He's made 4 catches. 2 of those have been for touchdowns. 1 went 60 yards. And that last one made it 28-7. He has put together another great day already, 87 yards. Look at where he ranks in Mississippi State history. That'll go out of bounds, and good field position to start with for Texas A&M. Incomplete, looking for Travion Williams. Texas A&M has put together 143 yards of offense, 100 yards on the ground, 43 through the air. Trevor Knight's 5 out of 14. He leads them in rushing, 4 carries, 51 yards, and a touchdown.
Yeah, the only completions coming on the touchdown drive.
He was 5 for 5.
5 for 5. Yeah, otherwise it's been very spotty.
Keith Ford back in the game at running back on 2nd down and 10. Three-man rush. Knight trying to run out near the 40-yard line, and he is brought down. Leo Lewis chasing him out of bounds. Let's hope everybody's all right over there, and it looks like there's an injured. Was that Trevor Knight? Well, you saw the Mississippi State some of the staff members over there.
I think it looked like he went down maybe on his right side again. You see Leo Lewis, and the contact's initiated in the field of play, but you see that right elbow coming down again. It was just a continuation of the play that started on the field while Knight was still clearly in bounds. That three-man rush was actually getting home to Trevor Knight. You know, and now you got a team in Mississippi State that's going to start believing that they can win this football game.
Even in the game at quarterback again, and that one is almost picked off. Oh, Mark McLaurin, the sophomore out of Collins, Mississippi, the safety, hit him right in the numbers.
McLaurin's playing deep middle. And watch him come into your picture. See 41 shooting in here right underneath this route. And they're trying to fit the football into Ricky Seals-Jones. Great job driving on that football.
Well, that's an outstanding kick by Trapuka. High spiral, fair catch called for. But the Bulldogs force another punt. 3:17 to go before halftime. Let's go downstairs, get an update from Olivia.
Guys, quarterback Trevor Knight, watching him on the sideline before he went in for that last drive, was still experiencing pain with that right shoulder, really trying to shake it out. Right now, after that drive, he's sitting for the first time all day. He's been surrounded by trainers, looking a little discouraged, guys.
Nick Fitzgerald, 9 of 14, throwing the football 136 yards, has 127 on the ground. And he will keep it here out to the 19-yard line. That's 5 more yards. Deshaun Hall brings him down.
In a lot of ways, it's a tale of two quarterbacks in this game. Coming in, we knew how dynamic both of these signal callers are for their respective teams. Nick Fitzgerald has a couple of nice runs in this game. Some deep balls, some long passes. And obviously, Trevor Knight trying to battle through an injury.
Here's Williams. He'll cut it back, and he'll have enough for the first down, 7 more yards. This is the most first-half yards allowed by A&M since last year's Music City Bowl.
Yeah, it's going to be troubling, no question, for John Chavis, because he even mentioned, you know, even in a victory over Tennessee, it really eats at him the amount of yardage that they allow. There's a standard that he wants to play towards. And here in the first half, he's not going to be pleased with the performance.
The first down and 20 now. Inside handoff. Williams brought down by Dotson.
Dodson's a guy they were really high on coming into this season. They did A&M to upgrade their play at linebacker. They've had more consistency. Dotson was a guy that they were counting on to not only contribute but provide some depth at that spot.
Fitzgerald slings it over the middle, and that one well behind his receiver. And lucky that one didn't get picked off.
We saw this a couple of times last week. You see illegal hands to the face called on the field, but last week Nick Fitzgerald a little too reckless with the football, and that time rolling against his throwing arm and then just trying to throw it back towards the middle of the field.
Illegal hands to the face. Number 62 of the offense. Penalties declined. 3rd down.
Yeah, Devin Desper with his hands all up. Zakoven Henderson's face mask. He just can't do it. It should have happened in the first place. That's a double team block in pass protection between he and Jamal Claiborne.
26 sacks for this Texas A&M defense. 10th in the country, 2nd in the conference. They'd love to get one here on 3rd down and 13. An opportunity. Fitzgerald dodges one defender and throws on the run. It was grabbed out of midair by Evans, but he was out of bounds.
That's a dangerous sequence of events with your quarterback. A couple of decisions back to back. You're going, I don't know, trying to force that football downfield. Did it on the previous throw as well. Did the quarterback from Mississippi State.
Boy, a booming kick. Here's Kirk. He's coming near side. He had a couple of returns for touchdowns last week. He may have one here this week. He is on the run. Nobody will catch him. Touchdown, Texas A&M. 92 yards.
Wow. What did they miss? It should have been an obvious block in the back. Dan Mullen is losing it, and rightfully so. He can't believe it right here at right before half.
On the Mississippi State bench. First unsportsmanlike conduct of the game. 15-yard penalty being forced.
This is what he's talking about. Watch Keith Ford right here. He's going to block Ashton Shepard in the back. He's going to take out two guys. That's Jamal Graham as well. That's what springs Kirk initially. The punt, you would think, was out-kicking most of the coverage, and it did. But Mississippi State had two defenders in place, and that one block by Ford ended up taking out two guys. And, of course, everyone in the crowd saying the same thing. How do you miss that call?
For Kirk, that's his 5th career punt return for a touchdown. He had 2 punt returns for touchdowns last week against New Mexico State of 70 and 73 yards. The point after is up and good, and did the Aggies ever need that? Lofty expectations for a team that wasn't even ranked at the beginning of the season. They trail by 2 touchdowns on the road. Our score 28-14. Time to get it to the studio for our Cooper Tire halftime report. Didn't see this one coming, but that's why we play the game. 28-14. Mississippi State leading Texas A&M. Dave Neal, Matt Stinchcomb, and sum that first 30 minutes up for me in a nutshell.
In a nutshell, as much as what just happened right there? Sure, let me do that real quick. Big plays. That was, I think early on especially, Mississippi State jumping on the board so quickly and having as much success as they did, both offensively and defensively, forcing 3 and outs, gave them the confidence they needed in this game, and it just kept building and building.
Bulldogs will have the football first and now bring it out to the 25. And moments ago, Olivia Harlan caught up with Bulldog head coach Dan Mullen.
Well, you forced 6 Texas A&M punts. What is your defense doing so well against both quarterbacks?
They're just, you know, I mean, we're just our guys got to make plays, got to execute, running the ball, play at effort. There's a certain standard of defense we expect to play here at Mississippi State, and we just need to see us play that. We got a lot of young guys, haven't been in that position before. They're just kind of trying to grow up on the field.
You've had the lead the whole game on a top 4 team. What was your message at half?
We got to keep making the plays. You know, we can make. I mean, I don't know that we've done anything special. We're just playing hard. Guys are making plays out there on the field with game, but we got to. They're an excellent football team. You got to do that for 60 minutes.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
30 more minutes of football to go. 2-yard pickup. Malik Deer on that carry. And this Bulldog offense in the first half, Stinch, very efficient and very effective. We saw it last week, and it's hard to get a read. You're playing an FCS-type team, but nonetheless, every time you put up over 600 yards, you're doing something right.
That's right. Yeah, that's hard to do against the air. They did it both ways. So you think maybe that was the confidence boost this offense needed heading into this contest.
Out to the 35 and change, and that'll be enough for the first down. 9-yard pickup. That goes to Fred Ross, and Fred Ross is making plays today. 5 catches now.
We've seen a couple different times for Nick Fitzgerald fitting that football in on the quick slant right underneath, that time in front of Nick Harvey.
Fitzgerald stands tall in the pocket, and boy, there was some running room out in front of Malik Deer. If he catches that, I mean a lot of running room.
Yeah, that time Donovan Wilson in on the coverage. He's been charged with handling the slot receiver. That time Malik Deer got up a little bit slow, might have rolled that ankle a little bit. Already had a carry as well. Whenever we see them motion Deer mixing into the backfield, they're oftentimes getting that handoff.
Holloway will cut it back, trying to get a block to the outside, and well played on the far side by Justin Evans. That'll be a loss of 2.
You know, right now, Mississippi State, we mentioned coming into the game, we're pleased with their offensive line lineup. They've been banged up and had to reshuffle. Well, they're reshuffled again. And right guard, Deion Calhoun out. Elton Jenkins, who was kind of an emergency backup, and typically at tackle, was in there at left guard, and they had to slide Devin Desper to right guard. Saw that in the first half. That's what they opened up this half with as well.
Go to the far side, nothing happening there. And Evans again making a play on Fred Ross.
Justin Evans does a great job. Not only does he see the game and understand where he needs to be, at that time able to roll up quickly on Fred Ross. And we've seen A&M talk about this game. They had to pick their moments with Myles Garrett. He's been in there on some third downs, but with Elton Jenkins in there at guard, you've got a tackle type talent blocking your defensive end.
High kick. Kirk says everybody get out of the way, and they do, and that will allow the ball to take a Bulldog roll, a 52-yard punt. It'll be down at the 13-yard line. Well, the quarterback question for Texas A&M is how hurt is Trevor Knight? Well, hurt enough that Jake Hubenek will be the guy that will start the second half. Junior college transfer from Glenn Junior College. Originally started his career at Oklahoma State. Played last year for the Aggies. Got to start in that bowl game at the Music City Bowl. 28 of 48, over 300 yards against the Louisville Cardinals. Only played in a couple of games this year. We'll hand it off to Travion Williams. But it appears that second half is all his.
You know, it's not just Trevor Knight that's not taking the field for the Aggies. Connor Lanphier, their right guard, typical starter there on the inside. He is out. They've had to put Keaton Sutherland, who saw some time in the Alabama game as well.
Boy, Leo Lewis, the redshirt freshman, the coaches just love the upside of this young man. Came in as a five-star linebacker, just wasn't quite ready, just mentally didn't grasp the game a year ago, so they redshirted him.
Well, he did a great job on that play, and it was Keaton Sutherland, the backup at right guard, where they had a fold scheme on the inside, and he didn't lay a finger on Leo Lewis, who got downhill right now to snuff out that run play.
Third down and 7. Over the middle, pass is caught. Christian Kirk over the 30 to the 32. That's a first down after a 15-yard pickup.
All day in the world that time in a clean pocket to allow Christian Kirk. Speedy Noyle was underneath. They had him bracketed. He went to the second level in his route progression to get it to Kirk.
Kirk makes a man miss. Gets back to the line of scrimmage.
And that time, Speedy Noyle just barely getting a glancing block, enough to keep Christian Kirk alive as he made that catch.
Peter Sermon, the Mississippi State defensive coordinator.
He and Noel Mazzoni are familiar with one another, both Pac-12 guys. He spent most of the game with just those 3 down linemen. It's something that A&M was actually anticipating and desiring.
Hubenek deep down the middle. There's Kirk, makes the catch. He's tripped up at the 15-yard line. A huge gainer inside the red zone, 54 yards.
You got with Chris Rayford. And Chris Rayford just didn't adjust to Christian Kirk, who crossed his face. And if you're able to lay it out there with Kirk is able to get the ball with a full head of steam, Mississippi State lucky to get him down before he hit the end zone.
Here's Williams trying to turn the corner. Makes a man miss. He'll be tripped up around the 5.
We mentioned the yards after the catch. It was lethal for the Mississippi State defense last week. Sanford racking up 328 yards after their receivers caught the football. And they're showing up big for Christian Kirk to set up this red zone possession.
Second and short. Here's Williams. He's hitting the line of scrimmage and dropped right there.
Torrey Dale's had a pretty good game. able to get a couple of pressures earlier on. That showed up a ton as far as the stat sheet, has disrupted the pocket. That time, able to get upfield and shed the block. Get Williams down on the ground.
So it's third down and about a yard.
And you wonder, Trevor Knight, typically with that run element, Hubenak has scrambled in this game, but isn't quite the runner.
And he is lit up at the 10. He is just walloped for a loss of 5. Mark McLaurin came flying in from a safety spot.
Watch number 41. See the fake handoff. It's an RPO. Hubenak ends up hanging on to this football. You see him. He wants to deliver the ball. Didn't have anywhere to go with it in the pass game, and McLaurin just levels Hubenak.
The camera from 27 yards out of the near hash. Connor McQueen with the hold. Kick is on the way, and it is no good. He missed it wide right. Just as soon as A&M had some momentum, they missed the field goal. The big hit from McLaurin. The missed field goal from LaCamera. And the Bulldogs up by 2 touchdowns. I mean, the bottom line is, to this point anyway, Mississippi State's just played better football.
They have.
4:32 to go, third quarter. There's Williams. He's out to the 34-yard line. He'll pick up 7, and now you got the second down and short situation where Nick Fitzgerald can do so much with these RPOs.
And one of the things we talked about, why is the defense better this year, you think? It's the play of the defensive ends. Well, one of the best defensive ends for A&M, he's only getting spot duty. Right now, you got Jarrett Johnson holding up the point where Myles Garrett typically is lined up. They keep running, they're able to run it left, they're capturing that edge, and Jarrett Johnson's been hung up on a couple of different occasions.
They'll give the handoff back to Williams, trying to get that first down, and I think he'll have it. Picks up 4. And now you start thinking Mississippi State want to grind out one of these 4 5-minute drives.
They're capable of sustaining drives. We've seen it a couple of times early on in this game. They were able to grind out some drives, one resulting in a red zone turnover. But the Bulldogs have been able to move the football, only 1 3 and out in this game.
Fitzgerald to the 47. 8 more yards. Nick Harvey brings him down. Nick now with 8 tackles.
He's hurt. Nick Fitzgerald really favoring that ankle. He was bent over a second ago. That was a quarterback counter. He's a big part of what they're going to do in the ground game, but clearly in pain.
6'5", 230-pounder. He'll hand it off to Williams. Boy, they're just winning up front.
They are, and that's been the case. It was established early on in the first half. We've already mentioned that this is not Mississippi State's ideal starting lineup. Banged up, you got a left tackle playing left guard for you, but they're still able to get that push right at the point from guard to guard.
First down and 10. They'll go again with Williams. Sneaks through traffic, has the first down at the 28-yard line. Justin Evans with the tackle, but 16 yards.
That's him hit it right between his right guard and right tackle, and sneaks is the perfect word. He just gets lost between his offensive linemen and then squirts upfield, and a physical finish to that run. You know, it's been by committee most of the season. But Aris Williams, who I think has an equipment issue coming out of the game, Brandon Holloway being inserted. Aris Williams really asserting himself in this game.
Williams with 96 yards on 15 carries. Holloway cuts it back. He's to the 15 before he is tripped up. My goodness, the run game for Mississippi State is going off today. Almost 300 yards on the ground.
See the guys, Harris Williams, 96 rushing yards on 15 totes, and one that got into the end zone. Fitzgerald with 152 on the ground. Right now, you can tell, you talk about passers, they're seeing the field well. Fitzgerald very much feeling those read options and zone read pulls.
To the end zone, and that one is picked off. Yes, it is. Donovan Wilson just steals it out of the hands of Gabe Miles. And what a huge turn of events.
The second time in this game where we've seen a Mississippi State sustained drive result in a turnover. Look at Wilson's concentration. I didn't think that he was ever going to play that ball in the air. He turned so late. But the ball was a little bit underthrown, and it was in a position where the defender could make a play on it. And you see Wilson there, he's just kind of fending it off with his inside hand. It wasn't like he was spun to make this catch.
Quick slant, nice catch. Josh Reynolds off the fingertips, picks up 20.
I think he catches the back end of that football. That is a gloves catch. Look at that. He catches just the end point of that football. Great concentration in traffic.
There's some tempo from Texas A&M. They'll go with Keith Ford. He'll pick up 4.
You know, this is where the Aggies running backs, they got to get back involved in this football game. It's a 2-possession game, and it's been awfully quiet. You know, Trevor Knight not being in there, that doesn't mean that you can't gain yards on the ground.
That'll be the final play of the third quarter. Can the Bulldogs hold on and upset the 4th-ranked team in the country? Stay with us and find out. But here the Aggies are in a world of hurt.
By this A&M rushing attack all year.
Here's Kirk wide open. Touchdown, Texas A&M, 54 yards. Right on the money.
We talk about Hubenak protecting himself. Look at him stand in the pocket and take this shot from Richie Brown. And he throws it a perfect strike to Christian Kirk downfield. Got underneath Mark McLaurin. They got the look and the matchup that they wanted. And the Aggies capitalized just like that.
Hey, if you can't run it, throw it. Point after. The camera will split the uprights. 10:42 to go. It's a 1-touchdown game. 55-yard drive. 54 of it right there to Christian Kirk, one of the best in the biz. SEC's leading receiver, Christian Kirk, now with 60 receptions today. He has put together 139 yards.
And Peter Sirmon talked about this, a 3-by-1 set. Here's Kevon Coleman, and here's Mark McLaurin. These are two guys that are safeties by trade. And Coleman has Kirk off the line of scrimmage, and then McLaurin allows Kirk to run right by him deep from his safety position. Mississippi State brought pressure. Hubenak stood in there, and Christian Kirk has stepped up into the offensive void that has been created with the absence of Trevor Knight. And credit Jake Hubenak at that backup quarterback position and standing in there and delivering that pass.
Hubenak now 6 of 9 for 150 yards. Mixon, couple yards deep out of the end zone, trying to get the edge. Nice little return. Both those interceptions, by the way, have been in the end zone. He'll play fake it, come near side. That pass is caught by Donald Gray. That's a gain of 9.
Donald Gray working on the edge. Again on Capers Smith, and does a good job creating enough separation. He and the defender coming out of his break.
They'll get it out to Keith Mixon. He'll have the first down.
Long handoff to Keith Mixon, who, as we've already mentioned, a running back by trade, lines up as a receiver unless he's motioned into the backfield for the Bulldogs.
Fitzgerald, he is wrapped up. Sean Washington.
Mentioned it earlier, Dave. Why do you end up throwing it? Well, right now, you're nursing a one-possession lead. And with time yet to play, of course, half of a quarter to go, this Mississippi State offense, if they can grind it out, continue to gain yards, maintain this possession, and drain this clock the way the defense is played, that's the A plan here in the fourth quarter.
Williams, boy, keeping those feet churning up. This Scott Field turf picks up 6 yards, and he'll be about a yard shy of the line to gain. Deshaun Hall with his 5th tackle today, along with Sean Washington.
This is part of the reason why Mississippi State has been stellar on third downs, is that they get these third and short. We've seen once where they faked that fly sweep out of the same formation. Nick Fitzgerald kept it up inside.
Fitzgerald using all 230 pounds of that 6'5" frame. Hall in Washington again, but that's good enough for a fresh set of downs. Well, that's just, we used to see 15 in a Gator helmet. A guy named Tim Tebow used to run that for Dan Mullen when he was offensive coordinator in Florida. Do that all the time, didn't he?
There's another guy here that used to do that too, playing for the Cowboys.
That something.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
He was okay, wasn't he?
Maybe Prescott Field one day.
That's true.
Look at this defense. This is what John Chavis does when he wants to get a stop. He goes to that jam look, and then he'll run his inside linebacker right through.
Oh, nice ball fake by Fitzgerald. He's to the 30. Picks up 8.
And that's what you do when you see a jam look and you're looking for that Mike shoot, is you run the quick speed option. We talked about this with Dan Mullen in our meetings. John Chavis did this as a defensive coordinator when I was playing. You go to a bear defense, you run the Mike through. When you see that, how do you defeat it? Speed option to the edge. We've seen it twice here today.
And he had a great ball fake too. Got a couple defenders to bite. Saw a little seam, sets up 2nd down and short. He'll keep it, Fitzgerald. Nice little stutter step. He's to the 20-yard line and another 1st down. Boy, when you have a quarterback that can run this offense the way Fitzgerald's doing, I mean, how do you stop it?
Well, it's so hard, especially when you know that if he doesn't keep it, you're still threatened. Harris Williams, I think, really coming on today. It divides the defense's attention. But the other piece of it, too, is Fitzgerald, I think, has seen this game really well in the read game. It's not just reading coverage as a quarterback when you have these read option and zone read concepts in your rushing attack.
Here's Williams. He'll take it to the 15. Now, this is where we've seen this a couple times today, Stinch, where they have stayed on the ground, and they try to take a shot in the end zone. It's been picked off twice.
Right. No, you're exactly right. And incidentally, both of those, not the best thrown footballs. One of them that sailed on Nick Fitzgerald, and Harvey tipped it to himself.
5 red zone opportunities for Mississippi State today. 2 touchdowns. They've had a missed field goal. A couple of interceptions. Try a little reverse. Fitzgerald out there trying to get a block. Keith Mixon out of bounds. Picks up 4 yards.
Mississippi State ran a similar play to this one versus Kentucky. Nick Fitzgerald ended up blowing up the edge defender that time. Just enough to occupy Nick Harvey to allow Mixon to pick up a couple more yards.
Well, Fitzgerald is sucking some wind right now.
He's been busy this drive, no question.
He is over 200 yards throwing now, 17 of 30, 201. He has 180 yards on the ground on 18 carries. He will swing it out to Williams. He breaks 2 tackles, cuts it back. Inside the 5, it'll be 1st and goal, Mississippi State.
John Chavis, Bear Mike shoot. All three offensive linemen covered. You shoot your Mike linebacker. Watch him do a good job at left guard. Great job on the double bump, picking up the blitzing linebacker. Fitzgerald hits Harris Williams out in the flat. He's still breaking tackles. And right now, Mississippi State, they just want it more. They're seeing them impose their will in this drive on the A&M Aggie defense.
A drive that has eaten up 7 minutes and 20 seconds off the clock. Fitzgerald will keep it. Stutter steps, dragging defenders. Did he get in? Yes, he did. Oh, Nick Fitzgerald.
He just muscles his way in here. Armani Watts and Justin Evans, both the safeties, were right there to make the play. And he just drug Evans across the goal line, even after the cavalry showed up.
Point after. It's good. It is a 14-point game again. You know, they'll never replace Dak Prescott here, never. One of a kind. But Nick Fitzgerald starting to make a name for himself. This young man, just a sophomore, oh, and so good. Military Day, Appreciation Day here in Starkville, and the uniforms with the stars and stripes on the shoulders, the nice gray helmets. Mississippi State, as they came out of the locker room fired up today, and it's a guy right there that only had a couple of Division I offers, scholarship offers. They'll set up the screen, and that didn't go very well for Travion Williams. No gain on the play. Brought down by Jonathan Calvin.
Job by Calvin. We mentioned him earlier. Forced a fumble. Jake Hubenak was trying to escape the pocket earlier.
They'll go underneath. Speedy Noel. They'll get the first down and get out of bounds. That'll stop the clock at 2:39.
We mentioned Harris Williams emerging for Mississippi State. It's been so quiet out of the A&M backfield. Obviously, now with 2.5 to play and down 2 scores, neutralizing the rushing game.
Going up top. Defender slips, passes caught, spins out of trouble as Josh Reynolds, and he's down inside the 15-yard line.
You see it, you end up just falling down. Cedric Giles. Kevon Coleman coming over late as well. Josh Reynolds, who's made some great catches in this game, getting the Aggies right down on the doorstep quickly.
Hubenak. Oh, miscommunication there between 2 receivers almost in the same route, and on the backside, that could have been an interception by Mississippi State. Chris Rayford looked like it might have hit him right in the arm.
Yeah, Ricky Seals-Jones, I think he was expecting him to break out. You see there, Hubenak, if he actually hit Seals-Jones on the route that he was running, it's a touchdown. But clearly miscommunication. We talk about Seals-Jones missed some time this year due to injury, and Hubenak, of course, the backup quarterback for the Aggies.
Hubenak coming near side. He'll get out of bounds around the 9. That'll stop it at 2:03.
Nice coverage that time downfield. Hubenak didn't like what he saw. That time escaping away from his throwing hand. Just trying to pick up enough yardage before he got out of bounds.
Trevor Knight, all he can do is watch this one. Arm in a sling. Hurt his shoulder diving on a touchdown run back in the first half.
There's your guy, Christian Kirk, middle of the top 3 receivers.
Kirk makes the catch, stopped at the 4. So now it's 4th down, and what will be a couple of yards. Kevin Sumlin will call a timeout.
You see Peter Sirmon, the defensive coordinator, They've got exemplary play out of his guys this game. Well, if you're going to throw it, here's a 6'5", 240-pound receiver right here in Seals Jones.
Lob it to the end zone. Is it caught? Yes, touchdown, Texas A&M. They go to Josh Reynolds. And that'll quiet the crowd with 1:33 to play.
Josh Reynolds does a great job tracking this football and coming back to it because it was not well thrown. If Rayford gets his head around, he makes a similar play to what Donovan Wilson did for the Aggies earlier on in this game.
The camera. Hammers the point after through the uprights. So Josh Reynolds with his 7th touchdown reception of the season from 4 yards out on a 4th and a, let's call it 2.
A&M motions to where Josh Reynolds was singled up, the one receiver, single receiver side. Hubenak, he floated this one. I mean, if Rayford doesn't overrun it, he would have been in position.
Hubenak now 11 of 15 throwing the football for 222 and 2 touchdowns and basically a half of football. And as we talked about, they couldn't run it, so might as well throw it, and it's worked pretty well since they've gone that direction. There's the onside kick, loose football. Who's got it? Mississippi State. Boy, it was free for a second.
And that ball caromed off of Donald Gray's chest and then squeaked between his legs. He was Easter egg hunting there for a second to see where that thing went. Well, right between his legs, he spins all the way around. Donovan Wilson was honing in on him. Ball took kind of a late hop. It was skimming early. Usually that second bounce where they're hoping to get the big kick up into the air, and it just never did until it got right to Donald Gray.
They'll go with Williams. And he'll pick up 2, and there is the first of the 2 timeouts.
The season.
Oh, Nick Fitzgerald lost that. He was trying to hold on to it with Williams.
It's the one thing. We've seen some crazy things happen at the back end of games. It's just about to say this. What you don't want is a bad exchange. And that's the thing that you risk in the read concepts. You see Fitzgerald, he's trying to pull that ball, and Harris Williams is trying to keep it. One of the advantages of being so tall is that he can ride that give for a long time with those long arms of his and then pull it late. Make the defense commit. A minute 21 left on the clock. As you mentioned, the Aggies have expended all those timeouts that they had. If you're Mississippi State, you want to finish this game with your offense on the field.
Williams will carry it to the 44-yard line. Give him 5, and that'll bring up a 4th down situation.
Well, we've already seen in this game some crazy things have happened. Right before the half, though, you've got a punt return for a touchdown. One thing you do know.
Logan Cook will punt it. Good clean snap. Gets it away. Kirk will let it hit, and it'll bounce into the end zone. 27 seconds to go. And the ball will come out to the 20-yard line. Hubenak will throw it away. 21 seconds.
Nowhere to go with that football downfield. And Mississippi State really has done a good job in their defensive front. It's been night and day. They spent a lot of time in their 3 down, but they've been able to drop in coverage and still collapse the pocket on a number of occasions. Even if they don't get the Aggie passers on the ground, they've gotten them off of their mark.
Deep down the middle, batted in the air, and that one is picked off. Mark McLaurin will seal the deal for the Bulldogs, and they will pull off the upset over the 4th-ranked team in the country, 35-28. Let the celebration begin in Starkville.
Well, in a down year, this can be a bright spot. You get a pick from Mark McLaurin in his safety position. You throw a contested ball to your best deep threat, Josh Reynolds, into triple coverage, and that ended what little hope there was for the Aggies.
And Mississippi State will do it. A team that's lost 3 games in the final play. They win 1, and they upset Texas A&M, and the celebration is on here at Davis Wade Stadium. Let's go downstairs to Olivia, who has a very happy Dan Mullen.
Very happy indeed. Coach Mullen, this win obviously affects the national landscape in college football, but what does it say about your group to pull it off?
Well, I'm telling you what the adversity we've had to deal with this year, losing 3 games on the final play of the game. You know, we made some mistakes still, but guys made plays, but I'll tell you what, they wouldn't give up, they wouldn't fight. Tells a lot about the character of our kids in this program.
We can talk about the great rushing numbers, the 3rd down efficiency, but what impressed you the most?
The attitude of our kids. You know, everybody's doubting them, what goes on. We came out, we had our best week of practice. Everybody talking about, you know, every issue and every problem we have scrutinizing us. But you know what? They didn't let any of them bother them. They came out, they played as hard as they can in all 3 phases. Not perfect, but we played with unbelievable effort, strength. You know this program, what it's built on. It's built on guys that are going to give you everything they have every single week. And I appreciate all the fans that continue to support these guys for how hard they play.
Great atmosphere here today. You have a very tough schedule ahead of you, and you're 2 wins shy of a bowl game. What would you say to doubters about this team?
Well, I don't know. We just got to come back and play again next week. Don't give up on these guys. We're always going to play hard. We're going to give you everything we got every single game, and we'll try to worry about next week. So I think we got another tough one next week.
Congratulations, Coach.
Thank you.
Thank you.
365 yards on the ground for the Bulldogs, the most A&M has allowed all year. 574 total yards, but on the big board it was 35 for the Bulldogs, 28 for the Aggies. Coming up next is SEC Now. We'll be back with more from Starkville. Now it's time to get to the studio.